Welcome back to the Viking Central podcast. We have a fun little episode for you guys tonight. Just kind of going over some things that have happened here the last day or so. Didn't do a stream last night, so just catching up a little bit. There was some Vikings news that we're going to go over. Kind of say our final piece about Aaron Rodgers until, they give us a reason to actually talk about this again. Me and Austin were talking about how it's kind of just beating a dead horse at this point, just the same thing over and over again. So really no new information. We're going to look at one of the betting markets surrounding Aaron Rodgers, what he's going to do, and kind of just go from there. But I am with Austin again. How are we doing, bud?
Doing great. Just happy to be talking Viking football again. There's nothing better.
Nothing better. That's right. Especially this time of year. Cannot beat it. Before we get into this, I do want to shout out our sponsor real quick. That's Stead Foods, Minnesota-based company. The owner is a huge Vikings fan. Season tickets, just does a fantastic job over at Stead Foods, does it the right way. Got a little word about him here real quick. Check out Stead Foods, a Minnesota-based candy company specialized in delicious chocolate bars. They have something for everyone, and of course, my personal favorite, caramel crack, will keep you coming back for more. It is just super delicious. Use code VC10 for 10% off and use the link on the screen or in the description. Again, use code VC10 for 10% off and use the link on the screen or in the description. So that's Stead Foods. That's the best way to support us. Go over to Stead Foods, use our code. And again, that's the best way to support us. Don't want to make this all about sponsorships, but we also are sponsored by That's Badass Wood Art. Use code VC15. You see the skull sign there above the Tommy Kramer jersey. Custom wood art. You can find him on Twitter. That's Badass Wood Art. Go to his website. That's badasswoodart.com and just check out all the stuff. You can do custom pieces and all that kind of stuff as well. They do a great job over there, and just, again, really cool items. All right. Another way to support us is go over to YouTube. We're also streaming on YouTube. Check us out over there, Viking Central. Subscribers are growing a little bit over there. Twitter, you always kill it. Appreciate you guys. Facebook, if you're watching, appreciate you guys as well. All right, Austin, I kind of wanted to get our final word on Aaron Rodgers because there's only so much we can talk about. Last couple streams, we've talked about it. Couple videos we talked about it. It's kind of the same thing over and over again. I do have the poly market here. I unfortunately can't pull it up on the stream for you guys to see it, but I'll just read it off a little bit, and I'll get your thoughts on it too, Austin. Aaron Rodgers' next team kind of percentage, and this is based on the poly market. Pittsburgh Steelers are still the favorite at 40.1%. New York Giants at 19.4%. Retires at 16%, and the Minnesota Vikings at 15.9%. Any of those kind of pop out to you a little bit, those percentages?
It's really shocking to me that they have the Vikings below retirement. I guess just kind of figured with how things were going that it was a higher percentage than that, but I mean, that's not a bad thing. And also the fact that I feel like the Steelers being only 49% is pretty crazy. I think that's closer to a sure thing than that.
Yep. Yeah, and I kind of agree. The Vikings were favored over retired, I think, this morning. I think they were like two percentage points above retiring, and now all of a sudden it swing just over 2% to where retires more favorite than actually one of the Vikings. So out of those four possibilities, the Vikings are least likely. And, it does make sense. I think 15% is even a little high. I'd be like 5%, maybe up to 10%. There's always a possibility, but I just don't see it happening. Steelers should be higher because I feel like that is the most possible outcome. I think they should be well over 50%. And then, the other teams and retiring just kind of rounding it out a little bit. But, it's very interesting how retires is almost over. It's just 3% below him going to the Giants.
Yeah.
It's kind of interesting as well. But it all makes sense. Rodgers, I think the farther it goes along, to be honest with you, like, does retiring become more of a possibility? I know you can drag this out and teams can always come talk to him, but it is kind of interesting that retire was down to like 5% like a couple days ago, and it's all the way up to 16% now. Just your thoughts on that, Austin?
Oh yeah, sorry, I was reading the chat over there.
Oh no, you're good.
Yeah, we're kind of getting made fun of for being Rodgers Central podcast. Dave said, I think that's pretty funny. Yeah, we kind of have gotten there, but yeah, the longer this draws out, I just think Rodgers is honestly using the Vikings as a ploy in to get more money. But I think in terms of him coming here, it's really going to come up to what KOC wants. All the reports are showing Kevin O'Connell is going to have all say when it comes to what the quarterback situation is going into 2025. So at the end of the day, it's what he thinks. And I think the longer this draws out, I think the less likely that Rodgers would be coming here, because I do believe that they would have worked the deal out pretty quickly if that's something that we had mutual interest on both sides.
Yeah, exactly. And in my opinion, O'Connell's already made up his mind. And like you said, that Rodgers isn't a Viking already just kind of shows the proof in the pudding a little bit. I don't think Kevin O'Connell's not the guy that would drag it on this long. I don't think. I think he's going to make a decision pretty quick and just deal with it. I think he did make the decision as to move on with JJ McCarthy. But Dave says, yeah, Rodgers Central podcast. That's why I said our final words. This is our last words until something actually happens. And hopefully we get to talk about a Vikings quarterback too here pretty quickly, but who knows when that's going to happen. But there's an interesting point made on social media that I saw, specifically Twitter, but like they might just wait until after the draft. They might have like a verbal agreement with someone and just wait for after the draft, because then they don't get hurt with like a comp pick. Like if they sign for someone over $3.5 million, they lose a comp pick.
So, yeah, that makes a lot of sense.
Yeah. So I never really thought of that. Now you can maybe get someone for under that number, but it's not probably going to be your QB2. It's going to probably be like a guy to compete with Brett Ripien for the QB3. To have a quality backup too, you're going to probably have to pay $5-6 million a year for like a Jameis Winston or Carson Wentz or someone or whoever. I feel like that's kind of what could be going through their mind right now, which is kind of aligning with the Rodgers things, because why haven't we signed someone? But at the same time, we don't want to lose a comp pick just for getting a backup quarterback.
Yeah, no, that makes a lot of sense. And I've even said in previous podcasts where I do believe that there is a lot of lower end moldable quarterbacks in the draft that I think if we even traded down and got more picks or even got an unrestricted free agent, I could see that being a route that we do too. But yeah, I'm sure someone like Jameis will be available after the draft, and that's probably what our game plan is.
Yeah, and I know they're talking a little bit about Flacco on here as well. Flacco is nice. Like I know he visited the Giants, but there's been like no other like interest that I've really heard. So even like Flacco could still be available after the draft. I mean, we're pushing only just over a month away from the draft, so we're getting closer and closer by the day. So yeah, it's very interesting. Like, could they have a verbal agreement with someone? Like we talked about the other day. Like, why isn't Jameis Winston signed? I feel like he's one of the better backup quarterbacks in this class, and he hasn't signed with anyone. There's been no talks about him visiting or any interest with any other team. So I wonder if that could be a situation where maybe KOC does have just a verbal agreement or something like that with someone. So
yeah, I wouldn't be surprised. And yeah, I think Flacco is a good piece here. It's like we've kind of discussed, and he would kind of be like another coach being in the locker room. It'd kind of be like a Josh McCown situation with the Eagles. I think it's a good situation to bring someone who's been to a Super Bowl before, bring him in. We know how to, talk JJ through where he needs to be. And if JJ does get hurt, he is a guy that we've seen. He still has it. He could still throw the ball very well. We have a very good offensive line. So someone of his age would not be a problem, I don't think.
For sure. Totally agree. R on X, Twitter, do comp picks get locked in at some point? Yes, I feel like the allocation of the comp picks, I think after the draft, there's a cutoff rate before the draft, I believe. And then you can kind of just sign anyone for a certain amount of money. Even if it's free agent, you can sign them and it doesn't mess up the formula for 2026. So again, that's probably why they're waiting for a backup quarterback. They just don't want to sign anyone for over that. I think that's $3.5 million is the number that they're trying to stay under. Bob Sweet said, I watched Ripien play in Boise for 4 years, and he can play. Yeah, it feels like Boise always has really damn good quarterbacks, like Kellen Moore, the Saints head coach now. He's like threw the football over the field. Who else was there? When they played in that Fiesta Bowl against Adrian Peterson, like his last name started with a Z, but I can't remember. They could sling the football, the quarterbacks at Boise State. So yeah, I definitely believe Ripien can rip it, no pun intended. But Skull Prod says, who else is there? Winston, Wentz, Tannehill. A guy that I kind of have a little bit of a crush on, and I always have. I don't know if Kevin O'Connell's looking for this type of guy. He might be looking for the veteran guy like a Winston or a Wentz or a Tannehill or a Joe Flacco. But like Drew Lock, I think Drew Lock would be fun here. If you ever had to play a game, just let him rip the football around a little bit, throw the football all over the field, which would be a lot of fun. But I wonder if KOC is kind of leaning towards that veteran quarterback at this point.
Yeah, and I think when JJ's being his first season, I think he wants someone that has played in games and has been a starter before. Drew Lock kind of had that at a smaller scale, but guys like Winston, Wentz, and Tannehill all were starters for extended period of time. I think you're right. I think O'Connell wants someone there for JJ's first season to be able to walk him through what he needs to do on the day-to-day pregame, just kind of be there to answer questions in training camp, and just do whatever he thinks is needed to help JJ progress forward.
Yep, no doubt about it. Bill says, I want Rodgers for 1 year as a starter, obviously. If he doesn't come here, then Flacco as a backup. Did you hear Michael Silver's interview on a podcast today about Rodgers? I did not, actually. For some reason, not for some reason, but I've just been getting a little exhausted with all the Rodgers talk. So I feel like anything that I hear now isn't new information. So I just kind of let it go in one ear and out the other lately, which is maybe bad of me. But I guess I didn't hear. Did you hear that at all, Austin?
No, I didn't hear anything on Michael Silver's podcast. No.
Gotcha. School Prod says, if A-Rod were to sign a 1 year deal, what would be your genuine reaction? And I think me and Austin have talked about this before. I feel like both of us, like, it's not the worst thing in the world, especially if you get like JJ McCarthy's blessing and everything's okay. And he's good with being mentored for 1 more year just to shore up everything. Be an actual backup quarterback for a year while being healthy. I'd honestly want to get that blessing a little bit from JJ. And then obviously I trust Kevin O'Connell. So if he feels like Aaron Rodgers needs to come in here, JJ needs 1 more year, I'm all for it. I just don't see it happening. What do you think, Austin?
Yeah, and that would also give JJ some time to work with the first team and practices and stuff like he was supposed to do this past season.
Yep.
But my genuine reaction, I think I would be happy. It's hard to explain, but I've lived around the border of Wisconsin my whole life and now live in Wisconsin. So, yep. I mean, I know for a fact all my friends who are Packers fans would absolutely hate it. And for that reason, if the Vikings go into Lambeau and win with Rodgers, that would make the Packers fans the most miserable they've ever been in their whole life. So coming from that standpoint, that's kind of where I'm at. But at the same time, it probably is best in my opinion, best for the Viking situation to go with JJ McCarthy moving forward.
Yeah, the chaos from, like you said, Packers fans, Twitter, it would be fun. Like Bob says, it'd be fun as hell. It would be. I'm not gonna lie, but at the back of the head, I just don't want everything to go upside. Everything that the Vikings have built, I don't want anything to kind of harm that. So I'm all for just let JJ take you where he's going to take you. Find out what he's got, and if he's not the guy after 2 years, you can reevaluate. But I think he's going to be the guy. That's why I want to move forward. I have all the confidence in the world. And honestly, maybe this is a hot take. Maybe this isn't the popular take, but I'm more excited to see JJ McCarthy in the Vikings offense than I am to see Aaron Rodgers in a Vikings uniform. Maybe that's a hot take. But I'm more excited to see JJ get his first like real NFL snaps and see what he can do with a team this loaded.
Yeah, for sure. If we had to wait a whole nother year to see JJ McCarthy play, I think that would be my own kind of personal hell. It would just like we've been hearing all about this guy for a little over a year now, and if we have to wait a whole nother year to see him play, it'd be really tough, even if that did mean seeing Aaron Rodgers in a Viking uniform.
No doubt. I 100% agree. Is that, man, there was like, this is how you know I'm just have issues, but like I was like flat out depressed after he tore his knee up last year for like a week or two. I'm just like, oh shit. Like I think, again, maybe a hot take, but I think he was going to win. I would think he was going to be the starter week 1. All signs are kind of pointing to that, and people can say, but I feel like he would have.
Yeah, I was kind of getting that. I was hearing that too. I kind of thought that if he didn't start week 1, I thought he was going to at least start by like week 3 or 4. I feel like he was really starting to win the locker room over too, and the coaches really loved him. So yeah, and now he's going to be real healthy going into training camp. Knock on wood. I think this is going to be his season, and I'm looking forward to seeing it. Honestly, I think it's going to be something special.
Agreed, and I think it will be too, and it has all the makings of it. I just gotta show this. Crack Rock followed me on Twitter. Let's go. The NFL owner insider from the golf courses of Palm Beach, Florida. Let's go. I've officially made it on Twitter. All right, Bison, Minnesota sports fan. Love it. If JJ is healthy, it is JJ season, period. Don't screw around with Aaron. Keep in mind that in preseason, before he got hurt, it was reasonable to suggest that JJ outplayed Sam Darnold in practices and preseason games. Before the injury, tell me I'm wrong. Yep, just kind of what we talked about. I can totally see it.
Yeah.
That would be that'd be insane to kind of go back and see how the season would have played out. Like, would we have gotten 14 wins? I don't know. Maybe not. There probably would have been a little bit more ups and downs with a rookie quarterback. But at the same time, we didn't expect 14 wins from Sam Darnold. Nothing near that. So who knows how that would have played out.
Yeah, no, exactly. And yeah, there's no way we would have gotten 14 wins out of JJ McCarthy because it would have been the learning curve, but it would have been a lot of fun to watch him grow. And then maybe who knows, because we've said this before. He's a winner at all levels. He might have been able to perform better in the playoffs than Sam Darnold did if we were to would have made it to the playoffs. So, I mean, it would have been real interesting to see.
Yeah, and that's why I'm looking forward to JJ too, because I'm ready to see that it factor. They always talk about the it factor of JJ. Like I want to see it. I want to see a big game on the line. Like show me, and I think that's gonna be really exciting to see. Rondell Moore should put pen to paper. Yeah, they usually tweet out like it has concluded. They haven't done that yet, and it's been like 2 full days. So I've heard some stuff like there's been some medicals. They're just checking out that knee, making sure everything's good. But as far as I know, he's still in the Twin Cities. So if everything checks out, yeah, sign him. I think he'd be really fun in this offense. Just add another element. And we were talking about this before, and I'm going to kind of segue into this. Before we got Jordan Mason to add in this offense as well, which is kind of out of the blue, something we didn't expect. Kwesi's really good at doing that, and we didn't have to give up much. I think we traded the 2026 sixth rounder that we got from Ed Ingram, the Ed Ingram trade. So trading Ed Ingram for Jordan Mason, and I think we moved either 17 or 27 spots back or something like that in this year's fifth, I think. So yeah, we didn't have to give up much for a guy that averages 5.3 yards per carry and is top 10 and yards after contact. Yeah, I think that's a big W for the Vikings front office and coaching staff.
Yeah, it's awesome. We got a bruiser, the guy in Mason that was fantastic when McCaffrey was hurt. And actually, I saw on Twitter there's a lot of Niners fans that are irritated with them trading him. They would have rather have stuck with him and got rid of McCaffrey. So that's very encouraging to see. And when you have a running back that's 5'11", 223, he's not like one of them huge backs like a Derrick Henry, but he's still on the bigger side of it, and he's still able to show his speed because he's not as big. So he's like a good combination back who's going to be able to wear down defenses, and it's honestly going to be incredible. And like you said, this came out of nowhere.
Yeah,
I saw this and I was surprised, and I was like, wow, because I was even at that 49er game last year, and I got to see him play, and I really liked what I saw live, and I'm real happy to see him in purple now.
Yeah, no doubt about it. Yeah, again, out of the blue. Where did this come from? Something that we didn't expect. Like we figured they're gonna be good with Aaron Jones. They're gonna wait till the draft, and I didn't even know they were shopping Jordan Mason. I don't know why they would.
Yeah.
I guess they had to do something with like a second round tender or something like that. It would have been like $5.2 million that they would have had to pay. So I don't know if there was a reason there they didn't want to pay that. But he's like the perfect, like Christian McCaffrey. You talked about this, Christian McCaffrey insurance. He's not going to play 17 games. He's probably going to play like 12 games. That's kind of what he's been averaging, especially the last, handful of seasons. He's not going to be healthy for a full 17 game sample size. And Jordan Mason's a guy that came in and ran for 800 yards, averaged over 5 yards a carry, which is insane. I guess, it's Kyle Shanahan's offense, great offensive line for the most part. Like they're gonna be able to get some chunk yardage, but I don't know. I think this is a no lose situation because we barely had to give up anything. He signed a 2-year, $7 million deal. Like
yeah,
$3.5 million
low risk.
Yeah, like there's no risk involved in this. And if he hits and he's really damn good, that's a huge W. And I feel like it's going to be more of a 50-50 kind of carry allocation between Aaron Jones and Jordan Mason.
Yeah.
People don't expect that. They think Aaron Jones is going to be that lead back. But I feel like Jordan Mason's way better on first and second down, and Aaron Jones is a lot better on those later downs, like third downs, more in the passing game. Like Jordan Mason, he doesn't have very many career catches. And Aaron Jones is a really good back out of the backfield. So, yeah, I think the allocation there could be more 50-50 than people think.
Well, I know, yeah, and it's like kind of like I was talking to you before we even got on here. I said that I thought Mason is going to end up having a better season than Aaron Jones. He's going to have more rushing yards, in my opinion, and half of that's because Aaron Jones it doesn't typically stay healthy throughout a season, throughout his NFL career.
No doubt.
So I think Mason's going to have times where he is the lead back, but then at the same time, I think we are going to play the game kind of like how the Lions were. We're going to go with the back who's hot, and I think Jordan Mason's going to be hot more times than Aaron Jones is going to be hot.
Yep. And I feel this also signals kind of going back to J.J. McCarthy. Like they want to get a really strong run game for your young quarterback.
Yeah.
Like if they knew Aaron Rodgers was coming in, maybe they still make the trade, but I don't know if that would be as high on their list because they know Aaron's going to want to throw the football around the field a little bit. But, having a young quarterback, knowing he's coming in for his first year as a starter, you want that 1-2 punch in the backfield. Guys that have proven it in the league. And the thing about if you go get a rookie running back, you don't know what he's going to be like. I mean, you expect him to be good. They say it's a really strong running back class, but you don't truly know how ready they are for the NFL. So Bison Minnesota sports fan chimes in. Both Aaron Jones and Jordan Mason are basically 1-year deals with how the contracts are written. The Vikings have the option if they want the second year. We can still draft BPA if the running back we want is there in round 1. That would be pretty insane. Say Amari Hampton drops, and then you got Aaron Jones, Jordan Mason, and Amari Hampton, or like a Travion Henderson or whoever you want to pick in that part of the draft. I think it's unlikely at this point, but we've seen crazier things, I guess. I think it's still an option at 97 if someone falls to them in that area. But if the board doesn't fall the way they want, they don't have to go reach for someone. I feel like if they didn't make this move and the board didn't fall the way they wanted at 97, I think they would have been like inclined to reach for a running back that they maybe didn't have ranked that high. So it's an interesting point though. If a guy does fall, maybe you can't pass up the opportunity. I mean, the Vikings have filled this roster out really nicely. So
yeah, like you said, we kind of have ourselves in a position where we can draft best available position. So now in the first round, I think we would have probably reached for a running back that we wouldn't have. But now like you said, it puts us into a situation to wait till the later rounds and see if a running back we like falls further than he was supposed to. But yeah, these are real friendly deals on these running backs, so like it does not hurt to take in another running back from the draft. So
No doubt.
because most likely both these running backs aren't going to be on the roster in 2026.
For sure.
We're gonna go with the hotter hand probably, and like I said, I think that's going to be Jordan Mason. I think,
Yeah,
because there's a team option after the year, so
and
it's
he'd be
going to be
cheap.
real interesting. And I think the competition in the running back room is going to bring out better in both of them. So I like that a lot.
It's gonna be fun. It's gonna be so much fun. Can't tell you how much on paper how much they've nailed this free agency class so far. These last couple weeks, it's been a lot of fun to watch. So Jordan Mason added to the group here. A lot of fun. I sent out 3 invites to people that wanted to hop on here. If you're watching, I did email those to you guys. I'm just waiting for a response back from you. Just go to that join link, and it'll put you in the green room in StreamYard, and I'll add you to the video up here. So if anyone else wants to hop on, just email that vikecentral@gmail.com, and we'll get you here and we can talk some Vikings. Just let me know that you're interested. I'll send you the link over and we'll get you on here. Let's move on. We talked a little Jordan Mason now. It sounds like we both really like that move. I don't know why we want, but just a really good, solid move. And again, out of the blue a little bit, but something that I think is really, really going to help this offense come 2025. Speaking of the draft, we talked a little bit about it with running back already. Running back is now, so looking at DraftKings, they kind of have the odds for the Vikings first round pick. And they're all the way down to plus 2,500 for a running back. So the odds are not great. That's the 7th best odds out of position. So that's not great. You can get kicker, punter, long snapper for plus 25,000 if you think they're going to take one of those guys in the first round.
You might want to sprinkle that. You never know.
Yeah, you might. You never know. Hey, you never know. But the favorite, and it's a decent favorite, plus 175 as my dryer goes off for the second night in a row. But cornerback is the favorite at plus 175, which makes sense. And then offensive lineman plus 225, safety plus 350, defensive line edge rusher plus 370. Does that cornerback kind of make sense to you, Austin?
Yeah, for sure. I think anywhere in the defensive backfield is kind of our biggest need. I was surprised to see offensive lineman second over safety because in my opinion, I would rather us go and get a safety than get a cornerback. I think.
Sure.
We obviously need more depth in the cornerback room, but with like Blackman coming back and bringing back Byron Murphy, I think that our cornerbacks are in a better position, I'll say, than our safeties.
Yep.
But at the end of the day, I'll never be mad at drafting another cornerback. It's kind of like Mike Zimmer always said: you can never have too many cornerbacks. That's one of the few things I'll agree with him on. But yeah, I think that'd be a great play.
Yeah, and I could definitely see it. Just looking at that cornerback room, Byron Murphy Jr., Mekhi Blackman, Isaiah Rodgers, Dwight McGlothern. They did get what's his name? Was it a Thomas kid from Houston? That's a really good special teamer, but can just play a lot of corner too, and was actually pretty damn good at corner for Tampa Bay last year. So I feel like they're okay. They don't have to reach there, but again, we've talked about best player available dropping to them in that first round. And if the best player is cornerback, they're not going to hesitate and go after that. If it's like a Siobhan Revel Jr. or I really like Jahdae Barron out of Texas, any of those guys, I feel like that could be the play. Offensive lineman being second is a little bit surprising, and it's favorited pretty well over safety as well. Safety is all the way down to plus 350. But we've talked about these two guys before, like Nick Monmori and Malachi Starks. Those are two options there that I think are maybe both available at pick 24. And, we got Harrison Smith that's probably going to retire after this year. We need someone to step in. So I think it makes a lot of sense to go safety, especially with those two guys would fit Brian Flores' defense really well.
Yeah, so yeah, we're on the same page there, and it looks like Bison, Minnesota sports fan. He's also on the same page
Ooh,
as us.
tight end
Safety
3.
is our biggest need, but I'm not really as surprised as you are with the offensive lineman being the second best odds. And when you look at it, we don't really have the youngest offensive line other than Dariso. So
Yeah.
it would make sense to bring any young guy to mold in with these guys to kind of keep the future of the line going, kind of keep the mindset of the veteran offensive lineman there. So
Yep.
I don't think it'd be a bad idea to put in a rookie offensive lineman to fit in with the 4 veterans that we brought in.
Yeah. Austin just wants him to go Gray Zabel. I can just see it in his
Yeah,
eyes.
I've said that quite a bit. Yeah,
Yeah, I'm surprised Bison Minnesota sports fan hasn't said that
yeah.
at the ASU guy. So he's got guard all the way down to number 4. He's got tight end at number 3. Um, what if you're listening, Bison Minnesota sports fan? I'm guessing you are. What makes you say tight end is the third like draft priority to you? So we do have T.J. Hawkinson, Josh Oliver's there, who's more than capable. Are you just not that high on T.J. Hawkinson? Or are you scared of the injury? Now it took him a little while to get into rhythm. He had a couple of good games, but I feel like he's going to come back. Has a full off season now, completely healthy to just kind of get where he wants to be. So I can see tight end. I can see them drafting a tight end, but more of a depth guy later in the draft.
Maybe he likes Tyler Warren. Maybe he thinks he could drop, and we go back to best available.
Maybe,
It
maybe that would be
would
an
be hard to
interesting
pass
grab.
on Tyler Warren.
That'd be an interesting grab, but hey, I wouldn't hate it. I
Yeah.
wouldn't hate it. Hey, people have been saying trade TJ.
Yeah.
I don't know. I mean, he's getting paid $17 million a year, which at this point, I mean, it's not crazy money for
No, and I like
a
TJ.
good
I
tight
was
end.
just
Yeah.
kind of like what I saw from Warren and Penn
Oh,
State, so I
for sure.
wouldn't hate drafting him.
For sure. No doubt about it. Here, I'm just checking. I check Twitter every few minutes because you just never know. But it doesn't look like anything's happening. But yep, nothing happened. Wolves got another win tonight, so that's
Yeah, that was good to see.
yes for
I
sure.
watched the first
Eight in a
3
row.
quarters.
8 in a row, sir. Let's
Yeah.
do this thing. All right, we've talked about this a little bit. We talked about Rondale Moore. I'm going to just go through the wide receiver three or wide receiver free agency class. And just tell me if any of these names would again, we've talked about this a little bit, but any way you bring back Stephon Diggs into the mix here.
I mean, I think he's too much of a personality to accept wide receiver 3 role.
No,
So,
next to that.
I mean, I loved him here. I never really had a problem with him. I liked him up in Buffalo too. He
Yep.
also was doing well with Houston. He might have the most talent of those guys that in that tier. So I wouldn't hate bringing him back. I just think it might be a little weird for him to come back into a room where he was the guy and
Yeah,
have to be a third option and only get like 500-600 receiving yards in a year.
Yep, I agree, and I think it was obviously going to be a conversation just because it's former Viking Stephon Diggs is big in Minnesota, Minneapolis Miracle. That's why they're talking about Kirk, and obviously that window is probably shut. But yeah, I don't see it happening. It's fun to talk about, but I don't see it happening. Other options: Keenan Allen. We've talked about him. We'd like him over here. Amari Cooper, Tyler Lockett, Brandon Powell's a free agent. I feel like he might be kind of on the outside looking in a little bit. So, there's Brandon Cooks, Robert Woods. They both have experience in Kevin O'Connell's system. Tyler Boyd, I'm a fan of, and I think he visited with the Vikings last offseason. Any of those guys, say Brandon Cooks, Robert Woods, Tyler Boyd, any of those guys do anything for you?
Yeah, those are interesting takes. Robert Woods is a guy I've looked at. I like his game quite a bit, and I think he kind of would fit in the wide receiver 3 role that we need. I think he could do well, and it'd do well because he also knows Kevin O'Connell very well too. So
For sure.
I think he could come in here and do his thing, and I think he would get like 5-6 touchdowns, and I think he would help space the floor out and help Justin Jefferson in the long run, because face it, we all know what Justin Jefferson's going to get double teamed. So that's why the wide receiver 3 position, I think everyone in here knows it's important. You got to have a capable guy on the other side, because Jordan Addison, he does a real good job too, but who knows, we might go a couple games without him in the beginning, and then he also can see those double teams as well. So it's just nice when you have 3 guys out there. And Robert Woods, I think, would do that. It really opens up the field for everybody.
Yep. No, could definitely see it. And we always talk about that, just finding guys that have experience in this system where they can kind of come in seamlessly and just start off on the right foot. So that's a great point. But there is some guys out there, if they've kind of talked about that they want to upgrade the wide receiver 3 spot a little bit, and who knows what's going to happen with Rondale Moore. It sounded like there was going to be an offer extended, and I don't know if physical or medicals kind of got them thinking twice. But again, we haven't heard that the visit has concluded. So, and then usually we hear from like a local beat reporter if he's left town or any tidbits about the visit, and we haven't heard nothing. I feel like local media has been very quiet for some reason. Probably surrounding the whole Aaron Rodgers thing. They don't want to, kick any feet or anything like that. But just kind of interesting that we haven't heard anything about that visit lately. But again, if you're watching, appreciate you guys. We're almost up to 1,800 of you. If you're on Twitter, again, we love you. Thanks for hopping on. If you're on YouTube, greatly appreciate it. We keep growing over there. Go subscribe to us on YouTube. Go like our page, like these videos that we're sending out to you guys. We're live streaming quite a bit. I do need to get some more just videos out over there as well. But it's been a lot of fun. Just growing a little bit of a following here with you guys, talking to some people here on Twitter and YouTube, Facebook. If you're watching, appreciate you guys. If anyone has any questions, put it in the comments. I am going to open up the Twitter comments now. Kind of asked some people earlier some questions that they had, and we got a handful of them. So just 1 second, you're going to pull this up. And again, if you want to join, vikescentral@gmail.com. Let's talk. Not a whole bunch to talk about. Again, good Jordan Mason trade. But the draft is coming up fast. Me and Austin need to do a mock draft here sometime soon. I think that should.
Yeah, I think that would be some good content. Yeah.
So we'll probably do that sometime this week. Just go on PFF, do a full 7-round mock and have some fun with it. But I'm going to pull up some questions here, and we'll just kind of go from there. I'll ask the question. Austin, you can talk about a little bit, and then I'll just kind of play off of you if that's all right with you.
Yep.
So we talked about wide receiver 3, Slug 1024 asked that. We talked about that. Talked about tight end. Talked about Jordan Mason. We've already answered a lot of these, which is good. So Zach asks, can Justin Jefferson reach 2,000 yards with Aaron Rodgers throwing to him?
I mean, I honestly think it's a higher likelihood, because I think we've seen how Aaron Rodgers plays. He likes to target the one receiver. You saw how well Devontae Adams did with him. That's why Devontae Adams wanted to come play with him. So, yeah, you look at Aaron Rodgers with a Justin Jefferson, I think there's going to be a lot of targets.
Yeah.
Not saying that's the most that's the best way to go about it, but that just, in all reality, that's probably what would happen with Aaron Rodgers in Minnesota is Justin Jefferson would probably have a pretty big year and probably come close to some of these records that we've seen, like Tyreek get to. But yeah, I think that could be a good thing for Justin Jefferson.
Yeah, no doubt about it. His target share, I think, would be crazy, because Aaron Rodgers, he finds a guy. Justin Jefferson would obviously be the guy, but he just force feeds it to him a little bit. He gets a favorite target, and he's going to look to him when he's doesn't like something. He's going to throw the football, to Jefferson. He's going to get a lot of targets, and he probably would at least get close to 2,000 yards.
Yeah.
Now with McCarthy, especially this year, I think he's going to have his usual 14, 15, 1,600 yards. I don't think he's going to have any issues doing that. But especially in his first year, once JJ get a good chemistry going. It's always a possibility down the road because they're gonna only get better the more games they play. So that's If Rodgers is here, I could see him for sure getting close to that 2,000 mark. So Slug says you see Diggs unarchived all of his Vikings photos on IG. It's another thing where everyone just would want to come here. It makes a lot of sense. Like Rodgers wants to come here. Shit, if Diggs wants to come here, you're going to be wide receiver 3, buddy. But if you want to come here, hey, and if you're fine getting, half the targets as Justin Jefferson and Jordan Addison, hey, I'm all for it. But I don't see it happening. All right.
Yeah, and plus, Minnesota Bison fan, he brought up a good point too when he said he did the same thing in Buffalo. Yeah, he just wants to go sign with a contender. So the Buffalo and Minnesota are smart decisions for him. So yeah, he's just trying to make sure he gets himself on a contender. He doesn't want to play meaningless football come January. So I think that's all he's trying to do.
Yeah, no doubt about it. No doubt about it. So Drought Farmer on Twitter, on X, thoughts on drafting a quarterback? Or would you just go like a UDFA just to bring another young guy in here? Quinn Ewers, round 5. Like, thoughts on drafting a quarterback? And we talked about this a little bit. We talked about Max Brosmer a little bit.
Yeah, I trust Kevin O'Connell. If Kevin O'Connell thinks that one of the quarterbacks in the draft in the lower rounds is something he wants, then go for it. And Quinn Ewers, that's a guy I've been super high on Quinn Ewers since his freshman year. I wish I could find the clip. I have a clip out there actually from my campus TV station talking about Quinn Ewers, so I can prove it to you guys. So I'm not just blowing. You guys don't think I'm blowing smoke, but I think I've been high on Quinn Ewers for a while, and I think someone like that in the 5th round, I think he's underrated. I think he could play a big part, and with the KOC, I think he could coach him up and then probably be like a Joe Milton situation where maybe down the road, obviously Milton hasn't gone anywhere, but he obviously demands he's going to get a haul to get out of there, and I think that's the same way Quinn Ewers could be. KOC could bring in a project and use that to gain draft capital down the road.
Yeah, and before the season last year, like he was projected to be a first-round quarterback, and then he kind of had a down 2024. But Ewers is older than JJ. That's true, but just on a guy that could come in to develop. Now you don't want to take too much time away from JJ McCarthy, obviously, but just another guy. Even if he's a high end backup, like just to have JJ McCarthy and Quinn Ewers in the same room.
Yeah.
Or we talked about Max Brosmer before, and who knows where Jackson Dart's going to go in the draft? Anywhere from round 1 to round 5. Who knows where he's going to land? Kyle McCord's an interesting one.
Kyle McCord, I think, is an underrated quarterback in the draft. He's got the big body, big pro style quarterback with the big arm. He could have high end ceiling as well.
For sure. And Minnesota sports are sorry, 1 second here. Bison Minnesota sports fan wants to join, so I'm going to send out his link. Send him a link real quick. I'm just trying to find out here. Let's talk about that. Keenan would be the best fit. Kind of had the same role last year in Chicago and has always torched us when he plays us. You think Keenan Allen right now is the best option for like that 3rd spot, or is there someone else you'd take over him?
Keenan would be nice. For me, it depends on where the money's at, but in terms of pure fit, I've been pretty vocal with this on here before. I don't know how I feel about Jordan Addison in the red zone.
No.
I hope he proves me wrong, but I feel like someone like Keenan Allen would be a good fit to come in here and kind of take pressure off of Hawkinson and off of Justin Jefferson too. I do like that pick quite a bit. He's a big body. He's a very smart route runner, and he's another veteran to bring into the locker room.
Yeah, I feel like he'd be a really good locker room guy as well. A really good guy for JJ McCarthy just to learn from. And even, Justin Jefferson's still learning. Jordan Addison's still learning.
Yeah.
Jalen Naylor's still learning. So for a guy to just, be able to come in and not expect all these targets and just would fill in for that wide receiver 3 spot, I think he's really good. And another red zone guy, big body guy, something we don't have outside of the tight end room. And that's where, like, Tyler Lockett's one of my other choices, but at the same time, his play style is way different than Keenan Allen. So it just kind of depends on where Kevin O'Connell wants to lean for his wide receiver 3. Do you want more of a guy that can move the sticks? Do you want more of a guy that JJ can kind of just throw the ball up to and can make a play? Dave wants to light it up. Light it up. Addison trade and his value. If they want to do something right now, do you think he's worth a first rounder, in your opinion, Austin?
Oh, that's really tough. It's really showing because most likely has an incoming suspension. I feel like that plays to play with the value, but when he's played in a wide receiver 1 position with Justin Jefferson hurt, he's shown that he's been able to do it. So I mean, and first rounders are hard to come by. So I think he borders on that 2 and 1 area, right around in there. But another one that I saw that would be fun on X was like for a Sauce Gardner. But when I saw that, I was hoping that if that were to happen, that we'd get Cooper Kupp. So I don't think that'll happen. Never thought it was gonna happen.
Yeah.
I just kind of thought it would be kind of fun.
Yeah, and I feel like definitely now, like, Cooper Kupp's by far would have been the best fit and the best player, in my opinion, to hop on here, and could be a guy that could fill in for wide receiver number 2. But I feel like if the Addison conversation is something that they're going to look at trade wise, I feel like it's after this year. It'll be contract year next year. If you don't think you're going to re-sign him for a boatload of money after his contract's up, yeah, you just trade him because that's when you're going to get the most value. Trade him to a wide receiver needy team, and you're probably going to get a decent amount of draft capital, especially if he has a really good year this year. He's going to be entering his prime, like his official prime. I could see you easily getting a first rounder, probably a back end of the first round, nothing super high in the first round, but like a pick in the 20s, and maybe like a 4th or 5th rounder added on top of it.
Yeah,
I could definitely see that because that's something similar they got with Stephon Diggs when they had to trade him, but at the same time they had no leverage. Stephon Diggs wanted out, so and I don't know if Jordan Addison's quite to Stephon Diggs in his prime yet. Who knows? I feel like Addison's getting better and better and better, but Diggs had multiple 1,000-yard seasons on his resume already, and playoff football, he played really well in the playoffs and everything like that. So I feel like his value might be a little bit higher than Addison's, but at the same time, who knows? But I think it's definitely gonna be a talk.
He has another good year after this year. I think he's for sure going to be first round pick territory. Yeah, so which I think all roads are leading towards him having another good year. So that could be a possibility that we're talking about this next offseason.
Yeah, no doubt. And Bison, Minnesota sports fan is on. What's up, buddy?
Hey, how's it going, guys? Thanks for sending me the link. I appreciate it.
Heck yeah.
Chat. I don't know if you saw what I was saying about tight end. We got contracts coming up for Josh Oliver in 2025 and then 2026. Just take a look at it. TJ, he's going to be getting up there come 26, and his contract's going to be up the 4-year that he originally signed.
Yeah.
So we're going to be looking at tight end. We got rid of Johnny Munt, and we just really don't have a plan in place, beyond that.
Oh, that's a great point, and I don't think a lot of people are looking at that. You know what I mean? I wasn't even really looking at it, but it does make sense to move on it maybe this year, kind of get ahead of it. I feel like Josh Oliver is maybe going to get extended, but he's not a first option when it comes to tight end. More of a blocking guy, can catch the football, but yeah, you got to look at TJ. I mean, is he going to get another contract here? I don't know, unless it's really team friendly. But yeah, I never really thought of that. I mean, Austin brought up Tyler Warren. Would be really fun out of Penn State, but it would shock people a little bit. But no, that's a great point. That's a great point.
Yeah, and I think it really is going to come down to because we don't have very many picks in this draft. So I mean, but like we were addressed almost everywhere that we needed to in free agency. So
Yep.
if a guy that they really like falls to them and they're not reaching to him, and he kind of is the best athlete in that at that time, I do think that a tight end is a good move because that's a good point. It's unlikely that we probably are going to re-sign Hawkinson because he has another big year. I think he's going to demand a lot of money. So that is a good point. It's a good point to stay ahead of it. You don't want to be stuck looking back when you could be proactive with it right now. I think that's a really good point.
For sure.
At least have the next guy up, or at least
for sure.
a replacement for one of them. Even if you sign one to an extension, you should have one that you're trying to bring up to be the next guy, the future.
Yep.
Yeah, and Oliver's kind of like you said, Brent. He's kind of an extension of the offensive line. So
no doubt.
So yeah, having another pass catcher would help us out quite a bit in the tight end position.
For sure. Just an athletic guy that can get down the field a little bit, stretch the field from the tight end position. I feel like TJ is more of a intermediate guy, which we need. But a guy that can really stretch the field and get down the field would be a game changer in this offense from the tight end position. Yeah, no, that again, that's a great point. And I feel like when it comes to the draft, I think the only positions are probably for sure not going to draft in the first round, or if they trade out in the early second round, is quarterback, probably wide receiver, and then obviously we talked about this kick punter and long snapper. But yeah, tight end, you never know. You never know. They position themselves to go BPA, which props to them because it's did a complete 180 from a few weeks ago where we felt like we had all these holes to fill in the draft. Now we can kind of focus on who's the best player, who's going to fit into offense or defense at this certain point in the draft, which I think is a cheat code when it comes to the draft. And that's probably going to make Kwesi a little bit more confident too, where you feel like he doesn't have to reach, and you can kind of just get better players in the draft when you're obviously picking BPA best player available. So yeah, no doubt about it. All right, let's bring this up. If the Packers end up releasing Jerry Alexander, you think Kwesi will pay his price for a second cornerback? What do you guys think?
I mean, it kind of scares me. He has been kind of injury prone, but when he is healthy, he is one of the best cornerbacks that there are. I think he would even rival with Byron Murphy being our best cornerback if he were to come into the room. So I wouldn't hate it. It'd have to be one of those contracts, I think, where it's incentive based and he has to be on the field and he has to win awards and stuff like that to earn the money. But long answer short, I do think I would pay the price to bring in another cornerback like Jair.
Yeah. What do you think, man?
I think you're spot on with Jair as far as being injury prone, and as far as bringing him in. I don't know about you guys, but I'm okay trying to bring back even Gilmore for one more year.
Yeah.
And, just the experience and, he was a good fit. He was a good team fit.
For sure.
And I think, even though he's aging, we buffed up that interior defensive line. That's going to benefit him as well. Yep. This year, he's not having to cover as long. We're pushing in and our guys are coming out, or even Shaq Griffin and bringing him back. I think I like how they played last year. And you got to remember, we got two guys on the team that, are probably looking to start. And I like McGlothern too.
Yep.
So I don't think we need to reach. We'll see what we do at 1, 2. We might pick up a corner at 1.
For sure.
Never know.
No doubt about it. Yeah, it's a great point. I feel like I'm a Jerry Alexander guy because he's a physical guy. He's got the mentality to play cornerback, and I think Brian Flores would like that. It's just I'm sorry, I'm reading the comments right now. He goes, "Guys, did you hear?" I'm like, "What? Did I hear what?" And then he just said "skull." So I was gonna check my phone, but he got me a little bit. But I feel like he is kind of a Brian Flores type corner. But at the same time, like, I don't even know if he's going to get released by the Packers. There's been conversations. I feel like it's gone a little bit more on him maybe returning to the Packers. But Dave here said just bring him in on a prove-it deal. I feel like he maybe would be one of those guys that would maybe take a team-friendly deal if he does get released just so he can play the Packers twice a year and be with the Vikings, rejoin Aaron Jones. I'm a guy that would be motivated, in my opinion, just to get some of that revenge. I think he's wired that way. He's an interesting guy. I've said this before. Like, you see his locker room interviews, and it's just an interesting, just an interesting thing that I always look at when I always got to watch an interview when Jari Alexander's on Twitter or wherever he's at. But yeah, it's an interesting question. But I feel like maybe they do go the draft there, and they don't have to add another piece. But it is a Kwesi type deal that I think would be a question there to bring him in. So yeah, man, if you want to stick on, we're probably going to go for 5-10 more minutes. If you have to go, that's fine too. So completely up to you.
Yeah, Brett, I think you hit that on the head, though. I think he is a really interesting guy. He's really funny. I love all his stuff. But but to your point, I think Shaq Griffin did a phenomenal job, and I think it would be very smart of the Vikings to bring him back. And I've been waiting for that deal to happen here for a while. I really like the way he played, and I think just him being around, it's better to bring someone back who is here and in the system than have to go and find a guy that we don't know what we're going to expect. We know what we're going to expect out of Shaq Griffin. So I think bringing him back is a smart move as well.
For sure. I totally agree. And I think Shaq Griffin might be more likely than Stephon Gilmore. I think he's contemplating retirement, I think, a little bit. So Shaq Griffin might be the direction to go. Just the guy that's, again, he's good in the system. He's going to come in and play well. And he doesn't have to be asked to be the quarterback too, probably this year in that position. I mean, maybe he will, but depending on what we do in the draft and everything like that. But Bison, Minnesota sports fan. What's your name? Sorry. I don't have to call you.
Sorry, Steve.
Perfect. Yep. Steve's easier than Bison, Minnesota sports fan.
Sure.
But, no problem. I just want to, I know we said we're done with this, but I always need to ask when someone comes on here. And I think I saw your kind of opinion on it, but Aaron Rodgers to Minnesota, how does that make you feel?
Well, here's the thing, guys. We traded up in the first round. Yep. We traded up to number 10 to go get JJ. JJ, like I said before, he was out playing at least all reports that we were getting through training camp and what we were seeing in the preseason. He was possibly even making a case to be the starter day one over Sam Darnold.
No doubt.
Last year. Agreed. So if the injury doesn't happen, who knows? But he could have started last year. I'm not saying that we still would have had the same record, would have had 14 wins.
Yeah.
But, I guarantee you we were not taking 9 sacks against the Rams.
No doubt.
Yeah.
So it was a valuable year. He was able to learn a lot from Sam. There's a lot of good things that Sam did here. But at the same time, there was a lot of things that I think JJ was able to pick up from Sam as far as the bad habits that he knows not to do. You can't hold the ball for 9 seconds.
Right.
Don't make a bad play, throw it away. That's the best play you can make sometimes. That was a killer for drives. I think JJ's learned a lot. And at some point, while, all the free agents that we brought in, we were only able to do that because we're not paying a quarterback.
No doubt.
If you take a look at some of these teams and the runs that they've made, they're doing that because they're able to put the pieces around them. Let's see what JJ has. Let's build them. And if it's not this year, it's next year, and let's take a couple cracks at it because we're going to be kicking ourselves if we do bring in Aaron Rodgers and let's just say it doesn't quite work out. We're going to be kicking ourselves. And then when it comes time for JJ, you didn't want me then, and when it comes time to pay, he's going to be asking for a release.
Yeah. I could definitely see that. And everything that Kevin O'Connell has said, he wants to put JJ in the most comfortable position and bringing a guy in like Aaron Rodgers. I'm sorry. He's probably, I always say he's not as like he's very egotistical, but not as many people say that he is. I still think that he is, but I don't know if he'd be like a cancer to the locker room per se, but
sure.
It could go wrong. And that's why I don't want it anywhere near the Vikings locker room and near JJ McCarthy. Cause if it does go wrong, I feel like something could happen. Where, it just stunts JJ's growth a little bit. And I feel like Kevin O'Connell's not a guy to make this move. And I know there's been reports that, he's really contemplating it. I think he thought about it for a little bit and then moved on. I think they're going with JJ McCarthy. And I think he's ready. And like you said, they want to know what they got in him. It's a second year of a 5-year deal, but you want to know by year 4 if he's got it or if he doesn't have it. You don't want to go into year 5.
If Kwesi or KOC for some reason see this, it's JJ season. All right, it's JJ.
The era is beginning. Yes, sir. I that's a stamp of approval over here. I'm ready for it. Bartholomew says Rodgers will be a Viking come this week. Hop off, dude. No. JJ's a bust. You need to relax. Come on now. I don't think he's a bust, but I think he's going to be damn good in this system. And he's only 22 years old. He's gonna get better year by year. And they've built a roster that if he fails, then you kind of just know right off the bat. But
at least he took every.
Yep.
Yeah, and obviously we're biased, and we're gonna say JJ is not gonna be a bust. I mean, why wouldn't we say that? But I honestly do think that he was my second favorite quarterback in this draft that we had. I was a big Drake May guy, I'll admit it, but after that, I really like JJ McCarthy. So you looked what he did at Michigan. He plays the game the right way. He has the strong arm, but he can also be conservative. And like you were saying, Steve, he has the ability to throw the ball away. He is smart that way. He makes the right play, and he knows how to extend drives, which is very important when you're looking at time of possession and stuff like that. He knows how to wear a defense down.
Yep.
And that was a Drake May guy too. I mean, just like you guys. But let's look what Drake May has around him in New England right now.
Oh yeah.
I mean, they're trying to pay off whoever they can to try to find a wide receiver one.
Yeah, who's their wide receiver? Like, who's he throwing the football to? Who's their tight end? Like, come on, who's their running back? I honestly don't know.
Boot.
Yeah.
That's really all they have right now is Keyshawn Boot. But I mean, let's just take a look at JJ. You know, in the position that he's been put in if he starts the season. You know, and you can look at all the other talking heads that are out there. There's maybe no other quarterback in recent memory that's came into a position like JJ has the opportunity this year with as many offensive weapons, the defensive assist that he's going to have, where he should be put in better position, field position, and more opportunities to have the ball in his hands.
No doubt.
So let's take a shot. Let's see what we have. And guess what? If it doesn't work out this year, next year, then let's bring in somebody. You know, but take a shot, see what he got.
No doubt. And I'll put my money on Kevin O'Connell and JJ McCarthy because I feel like you're talking about him being a bust. I feel like his bust percentage is way lower, not only because of his talent, because you have Kevin O'Connell leading the way and just being in his ear every single day. And we've seen what he can do for quarterbacks. But we do have some breaking NFL news, not Vikings news. This is kind of interesting. Both Jamar Chase and T. Higgins got contract extensions just 10 minutes ago. At the same time, Jamar Chase, 4 years, $161 million. So that's over $40 million a year. That's over $5 million per season than Justin Jefferson. And then T. Higgins got a 4-year, $115 million extension, which is $29 million per year, which is just insane. I know we were like, oh, we got to pay all that money to Justin Jefferson. Looking at these numbers, he kind of feels like a bargain at this point. That's just with the salary cap going up. But
yeah, it's crazy for me to look at a team that didn't make the playoffs.
No.
And you're going to spend $70 million on 2 players. I just
that's crazy. At the same position.
Yeah.
That's just wild to me. I feel like they should have traded T. Higgins, got some draft capital, filled out the roster a little bit.
Defense.
Yeah, no doubt about it.
Yeah,
no doubt about it. I just had to bring that up just because it's just insane. These guys are getting the money they're getting paid. And Justin Jefferson's only getting to be a better deal by the day. But Jordan Addison's value is going to go up. And we talked about this right before you hopped on, Steve. I feel like he's probably going to get traded after this year because I don't think there's no way in hell he's going to get paid probably $30+ million from the Vikings per season after the 2026 season, but which is kind of crazy. But if you guys want to talk anything else, we will. Otherwise, we're just pushing over an hour here. So if there's any last words you guys want to say, let's do it and go from there. So
Yeah, I don't really have much more to say other than hopefully we're done being Rodgers Central on here and we can get a deal done. So we can hear all about him on Pat McAfee on Tuesday about how he's loving Pittsburgh.
Let's hope. Fingers crossed. Dave says only the Athletic reporting Aaron Rodgers to the Vikings. Mr. Ego sending out his minions. Yeah, I feel like his agency is doing a lot of work, and I feel like when they say, "Oh, we're waiting on Kevin O'Connell's decision," yeah, no, I think you're just saying that because you want to feel like you're in control, Aaron Rodgers, and I don't think he's in control. I think he's waiting for an offer from Minnesota that he's not going to get. And yeah, I think you're right. He's going to be a Pittsburgh Steeler here pretty shortly. But yeah, appreciate you, Austin. As always, Steve, appreciate you hopping on, man. Good stuff. We'd love to talk Vikings football. We hopefully we can get you on again here soon.
That'd be great.
We can talk about some other stuff as well. With Kwesi at the helm, Kevin O'Connell, yeah, we could. Who knows what's going to happen? That Jordan Mason trade came out of nowhere. Drafts, I think, just what are we at? About 40 days away, 38 days away. So that's coming fast as well. So we're going to get into some draft talk here coming up. So Viking Central, Skull. We'll see you guys in the next one.